Evisceradio.
What's shaking, everybody? My name is Thomas, and welcome back to another awesome, excellent episode of Evisceradio. Season 2 finally here. Yeah. And just like Season 1, you can expect nothing but quality content. Awesome conversations, great interviews with musicians and bands that I play in a live radio show. Thank you so much for sticking it out for me for the little break I took. I had to do a pause for the cause. Mental health is a real deal, but I'm back and rejuvenated and ready to get this passion project underway once again. Thank you so much for sticking around. Last season, I had the absolute pleasure to talk to Sam from Phobocosm. That's a Montreal talent that is going down in a big way. They are 2 albums deep, and they've got one more album coming out. It's been like 6 or 7 years in the making. I can't wait. It promises to be album of the year. It's called Foreordained. Holy shit. Last season, I had the absolute pleasure to talk to Sam from Phobocosm. If you haven't heard what Phobocosm are, you got to stop what you're doing right now. Check out the last interview I did. Go on YouTube and check out the new single from the new album called Foreordained. It's killer. The new single is called Infomorph. And if you're not familiar with Phobocosm, again, you gotta go check that shit out. And if you are, I think you guys are in for a treat. This actually might be like album of the year. I've been looking forward to this for as long as Bring a Drought. I've been looking forward to this album since Bring a Drought dropped in 2017, I believe. And man, that last interview was dope. It was one of my favorite interviews that I had done last season. I'm very, very happy that I'm going to kick off season 2 with Sam and talk about what I think is going to be one of the best metal albums of the year coming out. I think, man, Infomorph, you got to listen to this new single. Stop what you're doing, go on YouTube and listen to Infomorph. Bam. My chat with Sam last season was one of my favorite interviews that I had done. I'm really, really fortunate that I get to kick off season 2 with Sam and get this ball rolling. Man, I can't wait. So thank you so much for sticking around and enjoy what I'm sure is going to be another awesome interview. Let's do it. Yeah, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Rob. My guitar player is here, but he's practicing because we're recording something after the the interview.
Oh yeah, you guys are double tasking.
Yeah.
Right on, man. I'm glad you guys are keeping it busy in there. Technology, you had woes, and then I was just literally running over here last couple of minutes trying to figure out like my camera issues, but finally made it.
Because of course, you have an interview set and nothing works.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, what you gonna do, man? We're also reliant on these friggin' things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Yeah. But so you guys playing, doing some tracks right next to you? You're laying out some new stuff for the new album, or is it some new shit that's coming down the pipe?
That's actually for Rob's side project. It's kind of like an old school death metal band from Montreal. It's called Necrotic Mutation. So they're working on a new album. It's been years. So we're after the interview, we're gonna record some tracks for the album because I demoed the stuff with them, but I'm going to record his final guitar parts for the upcoming album.
Nice. Right on.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. I'll be sure to check that stuff out when it drops.
Sure thing, man.
Yeah, man. I'm really glad you guys are keeping busy. I'm super, super happy that there's another Phobocosm album coming down the pipe, man. Like,
so are we.
overjoyed. That Infomorph shit, man. Like, what is that?
Glad you like it.
Oh, yeah, man. No, it's really, really good. I've been playing it to a lot of people around here, and the feedback is the same. Like this has got potential to be like some album of the year stuff if Infomorph is any sign. I've been just like ever since I heard Bringer a Drought, I've been looking forward to something new from you guys. I think that was like 2016, maybe.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, like that's what my mathematicals is bad, but like that's like what 7 years or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Obviously the COVID break had something to do with that, but like, that's quite a big gap between, then and now. Like, what's the tale behind that, if you don't mind sharing it?
What happened is that I have a side project with my drummer, JS. It's called Obsolete Mankind. And after we did the Mitochondrion tour and then the Ulcerate tour, they really wanted to work on the second album and to do a bunch of shows because we had been working on Phobocosm for, Deprive was released in 2014, and we had been working on that thing forever.
Right.
So the first Obsolete Mankind album had been out. I think we released it in 2015 or something. So it was time to write some new music, and we did. At first, we started by doing a bunch of shows because I got really I couldn't stop thinking about playing shows, and Obsolete Mankind was our band that we were going to play with anyone, anywhere. But Phobocosm, we're kind of more selective in the bands that we play with.
Yeah, I remember you saying in the last interview. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started playing a bunch of shows with Obsolete Mankind and working on the album. Well, they were working on the album because I don't write in that band. So while they were writing the new material, I was, working on the next Phobocosm stuff. But it was supposed to be for only 1 year, but then 1 year turned into 2 years and a half and something like that. But after a while, I told the guys, all right, I love playing shows. I love hanging out with you guys, and new album's great, but I have to get back to Phobocosm because it's been so long, and I think we have kind of a little bit of a momentum. So, you have to strike the iron while it's hot. So so I went back to it, but I have kind of like an obsessive personality. So I started writing and writing and writing, and I wrote so much stuff, man. It's ridiculous. We use a bunch of it for Foreordained and the EP that's already recorded that is gonna be released next year.
Cool. Yeah.
There's so much stuff left, man. I have, I think, 2 hours and a half of material that it's parts of full songs, parts of songs, and a riff here, two riffs there. It's ridiculous, man. So I really went crazy with writing music in my little red room that is kind of like I call it my torture room, where I suffer for for our listeners. So I think someone should have slapped me on the head and said, Sam, I think that's enough. We've got enough material, so stop it and let's record that. But so this is right before the pandemic. This is what we were going to do. But then the fucking pandemic happened. I remember that we had in May of 2020, we were supposed to do the pre-prod for what would become Foreordained.
Okay.
But, in March, when shit hit the fans, we canceled everything. And, at first, like everyone, we were wondering how long is this thing going to last? But after a few months, we're like, okay, this is going to last. This is going to last forever.
Yeah, right.
So,
it felt like that.
Yeah. So what we did in the band, we talked about it, and we said, all right, so there's those 6 songs for the album, but there are 4 songs that are kind of like, some of them are totally ready, some of them are almost ready. While we're just staying at home and avoiding people, why not finish those songs? So when we have the right to see each other, we're gonna record a full album and an EP. So what happened is that I kept working on those songs. I finished them, sent demos to the guys. They did their parts remotely. But when things opened back up, we decided to schedule the pre-prod that we were going to do in May of 2020. But now I think we were in late 2021 or something. So that's a bunch of a lot of months that we wasted. But at the same time, since we have 2 releases that are kind of like in the pipeline, it's not that bad.
No, man.
Yeah. So we recorded the drum tracks in November of 2021. And then during the winter, I re-recorded some of the guitar tracks because I think, I thought that some of the picking, the really fast picking parts were not that good.
Okay.
And I started using a new pick. So I was like, well, I have time. So I'm just going to erase all of the fast parts. I'm going to re-record them. And we reamped the album in July of 2022, I think. And then we did vocals in September of 2022. After that, we started working on the mix in maybe October or November. So it took a long time because we were busy with a lot of things, and the sound engineer that we worked with, he was really busy with other projects too. So just we're just trying to make our, to make our plans work with everyone's schedules, which is not that obvious. But this is what happened. And then we handed the files to Dark Descent in March. We had a few touch-ups to do in the artwork, which we provided in, I think it was something like April 25th of 2023.
Okay.
And then it was out of our hands. So yeah, this is what happened. So a lot of time that was invested in our side projects and writing more songs and recording more songs. So which it should have been released before that, but at the same time, I'm really glad that the album wasn't really right before the pandemic hit, because there's a lot of bands that release albums during the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. It would have got lost in the shuffle. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, I guess.
Yep, I would think so too. Like, I mean, it all kind of goes down for a reason. It's a good thing, personally speaking, too. Like, I'm glad that it didn't wind up coming out amongst the onslaught of music that was coming out in the pandemic, because there was just so much to take in.
Yeah, but, like Evisceradio, they released their album and they were going to do a tour, but then they had to cancel everything.
Yeah,
it sucks, man. And they're from New Zealand, so that's a lot of money that they probably invested.
Yep.
And I think the album was released a few weeks after the pandemic really started, so it's like, shit, this is bad.
Not Shrines of Paralysis. Stare into Dark and Be Still. Yeah, right. Okay, exactly. Yeah. They're coming here in November. Got my ticket. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to the Montreal show right after our US shows.
Oh, yeah.
Come back here as quickly as possible, just to make sure we don't miss their set in Montreal.
Oh man, I don't think
with altars.
Yeah, with altars too. Yeah, really. Like I've never heard anything like Ulcerate stuff before. Like I'm kind of wondering how the crowd's going to react. Probably positively, because those guys are unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. Like again, like releasing an album at this time is definitely like a blessing in disguise, like you said. I can't wait for it. Dark Descent, they must have given you some feedback on it. What's their take, if they gave you any?
Well, I think obviously they like it, but
I bet
they're so busy that we're not talking about the album all the time. We're talking more about the logistics,
right?
Because Matt's a really busy guy and stuff. But as soon as we got the album, he sent it to the key people, like the guys at Decibel and stuff like that. So we started getting comments pretty early on, and most of them, when we got the feedback, it was always positive. So we have high hopes for that album.
Yeah, man, and you should. Like, I mean, like, I think it's gonna drop a megaton bomb, man. I can't say enough about it. I'm just really stoked about it.
Okay, let's hope so.
Yeah, oh yeah. You said earlier about like you were in your red torture room of death there, and you were looking to you just had so many riffs and so many songs ready to go, and like partial ones and so on and so forth. How did you come to decide which ones you wanted to put on Foreordained and ones that you wanted to leave for later? Was it just a matter of certain tracks being complete more than others, or?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but we had a lot of songs to choose from, so because I think you figured it out, but there's a pattern to our albums. We start with a slow doomy song, then it builds up, and then there's the epic closer. So we, with the songs that we had, we're like, okay, this is going to be the opening song, the slow doomy song, and then there's going to be the first fast song, and there's one song that was obviously going to be on the album, Everlasting Void, because we did it on the 7-inch.
Okay.
But we did it really quickly in a weekend, and we were like, we want to give it, a proper treatment. We want to record it properly and make it, give it a second life, because this 7 inches, there's sometimes it goes over people's heads. They just don't really. Some of them, they don't have a turntable or whatever, and they just don't buy it. So I think a lot of people hadn't heard that song, so it was obviously going to be on the album.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of songs that were kind of like tied together. I don't know if people are, when the album is released, if they're going to figure it out, but there's kind of like hints that, the song number 2 as kind of like a little nod to song number 4 and stuff like that. I wonder if people are going to pick it up. I hope so, because I'm a as a a music geek, I really love doing that, and I like hiding little things here and there on our
Yeah.
albums. So
Yeah.
hopefully people are gonna pick that up. So that maybe that helped us picking the right songs, and there's since we really want our albums to have kind of like a certain flow. Some of the songs were kind of like, yeah, that's obviously going to be song number one. This is so we were trying to always think about the vinyl, because when you have to switch sides, you want the music to come down just a little bit, and then on the other side it comes up. I think I got that idea from this amazing album. I have the poster, and not the poster, the flag right in front of me is Graves of the Archangels from Day Congregation.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh man, do
Okay.
yourself a favor and check that out. It's gonna be
Oh,
your new favorite album.
awesome. Thank you. I will.
Man, this it's so great. They start with this really mesmerizing intro. You're kind of like in a trance, and it's so dark, and then it builds up. And when you have to switch sides, it goes down. You switch sides, and there's kind of like a crescendo. It's amazing, man. Check it out. This seriously, you're gonna thank me.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be checking this shit out tomorrow when I'm editing all this up.
yeah.
I'm and you guys leave the best Easter eggs throughout your whole like you bring her a drought. I love that stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
when I show people that shit, I'm always kind of like, I don't want to tell them. I just let them listen for it. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't, but the right people do get it.
Yep.
And Foreordained has got the same sort of thing as what it sounds like. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of thought that was put into this, just hiding stuff here, just in the lyrics and stuff. There's kind of like hints to other albums and stuff like that. Most people are probably not gonna pick it up, but
No, well, I
we
mean,
think it's hilarious and we love doing that.
well, I mean, that just adds to the charm, man. Like that's
Yeah.
why you have like fucking people like me who just want to be like, give me that shit. I hear that stuff. I want everyone to hear that shit, right? And yeah, so like thank you for just making it super interesting. It makes you want to listen. You peel that shit like an onion,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And on the topic of thank yous, the music that you had turned me onto with like Carpe Noctem and Sinmara and stuff like that. Like my tastes in metal have been going down a particular path since our last conversation, and it's like your shit has been at the top of my fucking list, man. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Your wallet probably hates me though, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. My credit card's
the way it is.
Yeah, my credit card's leaving like burnt finger marks. Like it's just seared. I don't have fingerprints anymore. Just
Stop it.
yeah, right. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you again. I wrote the definition down, but I don't have it here in front of me. Foreordained, I don't know what that means, and why did you go with foreordained? It must have something to do with I don't even know. I don't have an idea. Would you mind explaining to me?
Sure.
Yeah.
Since I went through the loss of my mother and my father while I was writing the material,
Sorry,
and
man.
it really fucked me up. It really fucked me up badly. Etienne is the one who writes the lyrics, but we kind of like work on them together when he has his first draft and everything. So we decided that the new album was going to be about death, and Etienne is kind of like a really brainy kind of guy, and he has he reads a lot and he has a lot of good ideas. So we decided that the album was going to be about death, and people who try to cheat death or avoid death, they think, oh, I'm going to avoid death. I'm not going to die, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. So the main theme was death, which is inevitable. And I was looking for words, something that is kind of like, yeah, it's inevitable. You can't avoid it and stuff like that. I was just, browsing through pages and pages of synonyms, and I was going through the loophole of kind of the wormhole. I mean, of just looking for the right word, and I stumbled upon that word, and I was like, holy shit, what does that mean? And actually, it's kind of like a word that is more used in a biblical setting, if you will.
Yeah,
And
sounds
it
right.
means predestined, unavoidable. It's just something that is it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do.
Yep.
And I think that's a good way to talk about death. There's nothing you can do. You're going to die.
Yeah.
So we thought, wow, that's No one's ever used that word as an album title. There's not even a single band that's called that. So we were like, wow, we can't believe that us, French speaking guys from Montreal, we stumble upon that word, which is fucking cool in
Very.
this metal universe that we're trying to always go for the darkest stuff, and we're trying to come up with words that no one has used. So we're like, this is perfect.
Yeah, man.
So that's how we came up with that one.
That's very, very, very cool. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of like emotion behind this one too. Like,
Yeah.
fucking very, very cool. How does the artwork tie into that Foreordained title in any sort of way? I took a look at it about an hour ago, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on in there, other than the fact that it looks great. Is there anything?
Yeah. Well, as you probably noticed, all of our artworks have always been kind of like really abstract. Uh, since the when we wrote Deprived, not long after we finished the album, we decided we were going to do a trilogy. So, um, the type of artwork that we have for Deprived and for Bringer of Drought, it's different, but in a way, it's kind of like it's a continuation.
Mhm.
So, since we really wanted to continue on that, that idea that everything has to be tied in together, we talked to the guy who did the first two albums, the artwork for the first two albums, but it wasn't available anymore. But we already had talked about the fact that we wanted to ask, Laurie from Desolate Shrine to work with us, but for the album after Foreordained. But since the guy who did the first two albums wasn't available anymore, we decided to ask him, and we said, would you be interested in working with us? And we're such fanboys of his art, man. He's so good. It's amazing. All of the Desolate Shrine albums, you just look at the vinyls and you're like blown away. And I thought he was going to say no, and he said, "Oh, I rarely get asked for commissions, but for you guys, I'm going to do it." And I was like, "Oh shit, awesome!" But I
Dude.
told it, yeah. But I told him there's just one little detail. I think it sucks maybe for you as an artist to have this kind of like this rule. Is it possible to just do your own thing, but to try to at least work with the same colors that we used for the first two albums? Because we really wanted the album to we want it to be obvious that there's a link between the three albums.
Absolutely.
So this is what we did. We asked him, and yeah, go.
Oh, no, and you got the answer that you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So your question was, is the artwork tied to Foreordained and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's where we were going. Thanks for the story, but that is what I.
Yeah. We kind of gave him, just do your thing. Just make sure that, color-wise, we're in the same kind of like black and white or black and gray, just kind of like the same mood, but he has his own style, and we didn't really want to have to tell him, oh, this is awesome, but don't do that, because this is the type of stuff that we want for the next album. Yeah. But it's kind of like this ominous figure in the background. It's kind of like it could be kind of like perceived as death that is waiting for you. So this is how I view it. I didn't even ask him, is this kind of like the Reaper or whatever, but to me at least it looks a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's kind of like it's just like you're falling into a hole. There's someone waiting for you there that's probably going to push you down this hole or whatever. So we really like abstract art. So we just went for something that looked good and that was very dark. And I think it's probably our darkest artwork. So
yeah,
we couldn't be happier with that.
Yeah, you hit it out of the park. I mean, the conceptualization and the imagery related with death can literally be anything, right?
Yeah. And just wait until you see the gatefold. It's a thing of beauty.
Oh man,
I can't believe that he did that, and it's just it looks so beautiful, man. The day that I'm gonna have my copy, I'm probably gonna stare at it for hours, and just with my jaw just like, oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
it looks awesome, man.
Dude, this thing is gonna be worth the wait for you, for me, for everybody. Fuck. Thank you again. Yes, awesome. You sound so stoked about it. Your energy is definitely really good about this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of energy, your mix is markedly different than the last two albums. And I wasn't sure. Well, you explained it a little bit earlier as to why you went with this new person in this new studio. But in sourcing this person out, were you looking to this particular engineer and studio with a certain sound in mind? Had this person worked on stuff previous where you're like, I think he'll fit the bill? How other than like I think you said that this person was just available and you went with that. How did this actually come to be in detail? Did you guys have a mix in mind when you went to this new engineer? No.
I think that our first two albums, I really, really like the sound. But our first album, when we gave the files to Colin, he had to delete the reamping that we did because he said it doesn't sound good. So he redid the reamping for Undeprived.
Okay.
And we worked remotely, and we really like the sound, but it's sludgy, but maybe just a little too sludgy. And we thought the same about Bringer of Drought, but it's not because Colin's not good. He's amazing, but it's just that, well, when you're a Canadian band and you're paying for an engineer that works in, he gets paid in US dollars.
Oh yeah.
Well, at a certain point, you're like, okay, this is costing us a lot of money, and we really wanted to work with someone from around here. And our good friend Xavier, who's the one who worked on the third album, he had been asking us, man, I want to work with you guys and stuff. So we tried him out for the Everlasting Void 7-inch,
Yep.
and it went really well. But since it was a 7-inch, we didn't put the effort that we would put on an album. But it's just it was kind of like a test, because Xavier is kind of like more of a black metal sound engineer, and he really wanted to record us. And he's a good friend. He's one of my best friends and stuff. But it's just we're like, yeah, but trying someone with Phobocosm, I'm just not sure. I want to go with a safe bet. And
of course you would, yeah.
Yeah, so the 7-inch was kind of like a good opportunity for us to trying out. We're not 100% satisfied with the sound of the 7-inch, but for the time that we had, we were like, okay, this is probably going to work. So when we decided to start recording Foreordained, it was kind of like logical to ask Xavier, because he said, whatever you guys want, I'm sure we're going to get the result that you have in mind. And this is a huge challenge for me, and this is one of the albums that I've been wanting to work on for a while, because he was there when we were working on the songs, and he was there when we did the pre-pros and everything. So he heard the songs and he was like, man, those songs are really good. I hope you guys are going to work with me. And of course we did work with him, but the poor guy, we had he made 17 different mixes, and actually 18. So the 18th mix is the one that we approved, and then 7 masterings. So yeah.
Holy shit.
It's not because it's not good. It's just that we were like, okay, this is our third album, and we want it to be exactly, how we discussed in the band. We want it to sound this way. We want this. We don't want that. So Xavier was fully on board, and he worked really hard, and we couldn't be thankful enough, because he's just like, yeah, he's surpassed himself. It's really, really good.
I would like to hear some other shit that he's worked on. I was not familiar with him or the studio, and when I was listening to Infomorph and comparing it to your last two, and now just keeping in mind that like you had recorded the guitar parts with a new pick, and I can really hear like there's a lot of vitriol behind like those guitars, and like he didn't like the reamping of that, I think is what you said, and then he went and redid that. Like
that's for Deprived.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right. Okay.
Because the reamping that we did for Foreordained was the first time we were like, wow, this sounds awesome. And I tried something a little different. Maybe I'm gonna go in a more technical aspect of the recording. But one of the things that I tried is that I always use my old Ibanez 7-string when I was recording the Phobocosm stuff, which is kind of like, it sounds super sludgy, like the old Morbid Angel stuff when Trey started using a 7-string. I love that sound, but one of the things that we thought was lacking is the clarity. So what I did is that I did one track with my typical Phobocosm guitar on each side, but the second track I used a baritone guitar, which has a longer scale and bigger strings. And when you play those guitars, they're built for super low tunings, and actually the factory tuning of a baritone guitar is the Phobocosm tuning. So I used that, and it really brought little details. It brought them into the mix that we would have probably lost if it were just 4 tracks of my old Ibanez 7-string. So that was a very good idea. I was kind of like unsure at first, but it was a good idea. And but my wrists ate me for that because
Oh yeah, I bet.
yeah, because of all the super bendy stuff in Phobocosm and the super stretch, the finger stretches.
You would have been like fucking way out there with that.
And I recorded so many takes for all of those songs that it's just ridiculous. I'm shy of I'm just not. I don't want people to look at my Cubase sessions. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
so many takes, because I'm like, I'm super cautious. I want to make sure that I have everything. And if there's a little glitch there, it's all right. I have 26 other takes. So it's like, yeah,
that's the perfectionist in you, man.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that. That's a fun ass tidbit. That leads me to another question I wanted to ask. Is there any sort of special, like not behind the scenes stuff, but like cool little tidbits, whether technical or not, that are on this album that you wanted to try out, or old tricks from back in the day that wound up on here?
I know that I'm a huge Neurosis fan. So when we recorded the drum tracks, it was at our sound engineer's cabin it's not really in the woods, but almost. And it was kind of like a 2-story cabin. So he put microphones really high. I mean, on the near the roof, and it was so roomy and stuff. And at first when we were working on the mixes, I was like, yeah, I love that super roomy sound, but maybe it's a little bit too much. And it was like, man, we have to use it. I was like, I want to use it, but maybe it's giving us trouble to get the right result. And he really insisted, and we finally made it work. But the fact that I have pictures of that. Actually, I send them to you. It's the setting for recording the drum tracks was just perfect. We did that during 2 weekends. The first weekend we went with the longest and hardest songs. We had a full week to just take notes. All right, we have to fix this, fix that, and then we went for a second weekend to do the rest of the drum tracks. And my drummer was like, "Man, this is the most relaxing drum tracking I've ever done in my entire life."
Awesome.
Even though the playing it's pretty much the hardest stuff I've ever played, and he was like, "Man, am I going to be able to play those super fast double kick parts when I'm tired?" And he really did a good job, because he was so relaxed, man. We just get up in the morning, have breakfast, shoot the shit a little bit, and then all right, let's get ready, and all right, let's stretch a little bit. All right, let's do this song. It was the perfect setting. I hope that for the next album we're going to be able to do that, because I know that for a drummer it's really stressful, because once the sessions are over and you remove the microphones, if there are mistakes that cannot be fixed, they're going to haunt you forever.
Sure. Oh yeah, of course.
So we had plenty of time to take care of those little mistakes here and there. So apart from that, just regular pandemic stuff. All right, we're going to do the album. We're going to do the guitars on that date. Shit, everything's closing down again. But other than that, it was the process was really, really smooth. There's no drama or anything. It was I think it's the album that was the most challenging, playing wise to record, but it was in a way the most relaxed album that we've ever done for some reason. So,
hey man, sounds like
I w-
magic.
I would have probably had much better stories for the first two albums, but for that one, I'm like, it was so smooth, man. And I think we're getting used to do that stuff, and so with experience, you kind of avoid some pitfalls that you've fallen into in your previous experiences. So,
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Hindsight.
yep.
Yep, it's there for a reason. You had said that this is some of the toughest stuff that you guys played. I'm not sure if you guys have played any of this live yet, but like, how does it feel jamming this out when you guys are doing a song from start to finish? You guys comfortable with playing this stuff live?
Yeah. Well, actually, back in April, we played the whole album, and you probably know Sherbrooke, this town in Quebec. Maybe not.
No, I
No,
don't.
so we did a show there, and we were like, we're just gonna play the release show that's gonna be in December. We're gonna do the exact set list that we're gonna do in December this in December 8th is gonna be the release show in Montreal.
Yep.
So we played that show, and it went super well. So we're really used to play those songs, and it's not a problem. It's kind of like it's a challenge, but I think all of us practice a lot during the pandemic, and it shows. So
yeah,
it's gonna
awesome.
be fine.
No, I'm sure it's going to be
All
fine.
of them are, we can pull it off. It's not a problem.
Oh, I mean, you guys are probably bursting at the seams to get this tour underway. I mean, like I'm looking. Let's talk tour for a second. You said that you guys are definitely going to be hitting the road. Montreal's on the list. There's a New York, I think. I can't remember. There's a place in the States. Yeah. Are there still more dates to be announced? Is it all set to go? Like, do you know you guys were going?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Well, actually, I'm going to reveal the dates because it's a matter of time before they're announced. So,
okay.
The first thing that we're going to do, we're going to play in New York on November 17th. I can't really talk about November 18th, but
yeah, don't drop what you're not supposed to drop, man.
Yeah, we'll let people figure it out.
Very cool.
And then 1 week after that, we're gonna fly to El Paso. We're gonna play there. Yep.
Texas.
Yep. And then we're gonna go to Phoenix in Arizona, and then we're gonna be heading to Denver for the Metal and Beer Festival.
Oh, perfect.
We're playing on the Friday, and we're staying there on Saturday because Crips is playing, and we want to see that band because they're awesome.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, and then after that, we have the release show in Montreal on December 8th. We're trying to do a show in Toronto on December 9th. We found a venue, but is that the right venue? But we're working on, finding the right bands. I think we already secured an opening band.
Okay.
But we're trying to find maybe a bigger band to just headline or play right before us. It's not clear yet, but it should happen. It's just that the venue that we found is not that awesome. But
oh yeah,
maybe we should just do it anyway.
Well, I was gonna ask, but don't fucking say.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you offline.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I've been frequenting a number of venues around here that are friendly to the metals, and there are some great ones, and then there are some not so great ones. Yeah, if you guys are dropping, well, I mean, regardless of what you guys are playing, you should be playing in an awesome venue. Yeah, that just goes without saying. I wanted to say too that I was talking to my partner about this earlier today, but I know that you guys are doing the opening show in Montreal in December. And if it didn't work out where you guys are coming to Toronto, I'm going to try and do my best to get my ass down there. Or if there was another show in Montreal sometime in 2024 when things will settle down after work and stuff like that, it'd be fun to do like a weekend road trip or something and come fucking meet you guys and hang out and get in the front row and watch you guys do your thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to tell you some of our plans because why not? We have all of those dudes. I've always wanted to do that. Yeah, a Phobocosm show with doom bands where we only play our super slow songs, and there's none of the super fast death metal songs. So we're probably gonna try to do that in 2024, maybe during winter. And we really want to have the opportunity again to do a fucking string of shows on the East Coast. So we're probably going to do that next spring. And we're trying to work on a European tour for the end of 2024.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Right on. Right
It's
on.
probably going to happen. It's just we have to find the right band, but it's going to happen.
I'm very happy that you guys are looking forward and like looking ahead and, you know, going and getting that shit.
Yep.
Yeah. When it comes to music like that, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't really have much else to say other than like, thank you so much for sitting down with me again, man. Like I got off like a 4-month hiatus. I took a pause for the cause, took a break from work and all that kind of stuff. And like, you know, you're the first person in for season 2, man. And, we're gonna hit it out of the park again. You're so easy to talk to. Your fucking music is out of this world. I'm gonna push your new stuff as far as I can on the radio show. And
cool.
You know, I hope to meet you someday.
We will.
I think so. It's just a matter of time, man.
Yeah, because you know when we're gonna do those shows on the East Coast, of course you're gonna play in Montreal and Toronto. We're gonna do those 2 cities for sure.
Yeah, you bet. I'll absolutely be in touch in the meantime too. And
Yeah.
I know I mentioned it offline before, but I'm interested in doing like a little side like a little side of this radio project where we're not so much talking about the band stuff, but like getting a little bit more personal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to reveal too much on the camera right now, but like I would love to have another conversation with you going down that direction at some point.
Sure, man.
Sometime in 2024, man. So yeah, great. Sam, thank you again. Can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to this album, man. Bring it on.
December 8th.
I'll be fucking right in line, man. Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.
See, I told you that was going to be dope. Sam is a massive treat to talk to. Phobocosm is a massive band you should be turned on to. And Foreordained is going to leave a smoking crater in the ground. December 8th, 2023, man. Going to be a great time. Educate yourself. Phobocosm. Be sure to follow them on Instagram, Facebook. Get yourself some good music in you. Your collection definitely does deserve these guys. 100%. I guarantee it. Stamp of approval. And while you're at it, show Evisceradio some love, please. I'm across all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. You can find my stuff on YouTube, obviously. I'm on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods. Anywhere you can watch a podcast online, you'll find me there. And if you're down with radio, I have a 2-hour time slot from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. EST over at metaldevastationradio.com. Just me and a microphone playing some Phobocosm shit, playing some awesome other shit, just playing all kinds of cool ass stuff. So if you want to just do your thing and listen to some great tunes, please head on over there on Sundays and get what's good. And on that note, thank you so much for sticking around and watching this interview. Season 2 of Evisceradio, starting it off with a bang. Bah! My name is Thomas. This is Evisceradio, and I'll catch you guys in the next interview.